Trump keeps making vague sounding statements about running for a third term. If he can run for a third term, so can Obama. But can Obama win? Does Obama have the will or the support to actually win a third term? And does Trump? If Obama did run, what would be his agenda? And would black people be on it? Let's talk about it.
The year was 1796. George Washington chose not to run for a third term as president, which created a precedent that lasted for over a century. The main reason that presidents elected from 1788 through 1928 only served 1 or 2 terms is because they were respecting the precedents that George Washington set by stepping down after his second term expired. The Constitution did not term limit presidents until the ratification of the 22nd Amendment in 1951. It was not until Franklin D. Roosevelt was re-elected in 1940 that the president was officially elected to a third term in office. After FDR was elected to a 4th term, the support for a constitutional amendment to limit a president's term grew. In 1946, the Republicans won control of Congress. The issue of presidential term limits was given priority in the 80th Congress. The amendment proposal passed in the House of Representatives on February 6, 1947, and it passed in the Senate on March 12, 1947. Almost 4 years later, on February 27, 1951, Minnesota became the 36th state to vote in favor of the amendment. The amendment reads, Section 1. No person shall be elected to the office of the President more than twice, and no person who has held the office of President or acted as President for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected President shall be elected to the office of President more than once. But this article shall not apply to any person holding the office of President when this article was proposed by Congress, and shall not prevent any person who may be holding the office of President or acting as President during the term within which this article becomes operative from holding the office of President or acting as President during the remainder of such term. Section 2. This article shall be inoperative unless it shall have been ratified as an amendment to the Constitution by the legislatures of 3/4 of the several states within 7 years from the date of its submission to the states by Congress. Thanks to the 22nd Amendment, a person may only be elected to the President of the United States twice. A fun fact to point out is that despite the amendment restricting people to being elected to the office of president twice, it is still possible to get a third term in office as president. In section 1 of the amendment, it says, quote, No person who has held the office of president or acted as president for more than 2 years of a term to which some other person was elected president shall be elected to the office of president more than once. This means that if a president dies, resigns, or is removed from office and the vice president who becomes president is serving out a term that has less than 2 years left in it, they can run for 2 more terms as president. Election minute out.
And a lot of people hear a bunch of folks talking and putting their own spin on what is really in our Constitution. And I just decided to stay silent, get a clear understanding for everybody who's listening. And now let's move forward. Obama being reelected to a third term. It's quite improbable and as of right now impossible because the law doesn't support it. Trump, the exact same answer. Improbable, and you never know. However, Trump has an upper hand as far as those two, or one of those two, ending up in the White House for a third term, and it's because he is currently a seated president. Could there be a war so devastating or involving the United States and all of its resources to such a degree that we may have to miss an election and just stay with our seated president? That could happen. If all hands are on deck and we're putting all our resources into a war or a natural disaster or who knows what else could be going on at that particular time, hell, an epidemic, anything could keep him in there longer than his elected 2 terms, and that would be the advantage that Trump would have, in my opinion. Now, let's assume Trump figures out a loophole or a way, or has Congress change the way things are right now. Maybe we can go to a simple majority vote and get some legislation passed. The Democrats have been benefiting for decades by having a majority in the Supreme Court, by having a majority in Congress most of the time. And as a result of that, the country has stayed a certain way. In my opinion, stagnant. For us to be a supportive part of the Democratic Party and for them to have never touched that part of the party as far as moving them forward, catching them up, it's absolutely impossible for black people to not see our lack of ability to open businesses. Why? We like businesses and business ownership as much as anyone else. Why do we open so few businesses? Why would you make so little money if someone said, you got an hour? Every black business you go in, I'll give you $100. You might not come out with that much money. But if you were given that same task and it was a Hispanic business or an Asian business, and I'm not even talking about going no great distance, near the community that you live in. And if you're black and you live in a particular community and you don't have a whole bunch of black businesses, I see brothers trying, opening up automotive shops, opening up businesses and going into business for their self barbering and the like. If left alone, could take uh, uh, entrepreneurship opportunities that start at zero and grow them into something pretty significant just on our culture and our ideals and our planning and the way we think and our little flavor. But if you're going to be interfered or bothered with or see that it's going to be such of a productive industry, whatever it might be, like rap music turned out to be, and then we get those hands involved that don't need to be in there. The FBI investigating people, the lawyers and the people who write up the contracts, writing up contracts that are not advantageous to the artists. You know, these are the things that a black president needs to get in and make different across the board. Everybody now believes in equality. Everybody now believes in a hands-off approach. And we are in such a disadvantage now, that doesn't help us very much unless they really do it and abide by it. And they would be shocked at how just leaving us alone would really help us. Don't lock us up more than you lock other people up. Don't fire us from employment more than you do other people. Hire us at the same rates you hire other people and promote us on our abilities. And we'll be just fine in this country. But the truth doesn't seem to be the most important thing. And we can just point at Trump and ridicule him because he's just blatant with it. And he doesn't stammer or stutter or any of that shit. He just says it and then walks off. And everybody's sitting there debating an obvious lie, debating some made up shit. And that right there in itself is a level of power that man has that needs to be dealt with. And we need to deal with it. We need to sit down and with respect and talk to him and see if we can get in on something that he has the ability to do. Obama was in that seat. He had the ability to do those things and he chose not to. And his reasoning was about as weak of an excuse as you can get from a president. And I heard a few versions of it, but basically Obama didn't want to make the country uncomfortable. He didn't think the country was ready for where we were trying to go or where we need to be. And in the years that he ran and governed, he never thought that it came up or that it changed or any of that, nor was he willing to, which means he was a fake activist in Chicago. I mean, how can you be a community activist and you have that kind of thinking? You don't have the sky's the limit. We can figure it out. Hey, I'm the president, but I got to take care of my people. I got to take care of a dream of decades and actually centuries that have culminated in me being president, and I got to represent. He didn't feel that, and he still doesn't, and he won't. And he wouldn't get my vote, and it's a pretty good chance Trump wouldn't either. But if we had a black coalition and we were willing to sit down with either one of them, and or both of them, hopefully, the debates are nice, but I would like a group representing us, of us, by us, with us, to sit down and have a talk. See what Trump's talking about. See what Obama's talking about. I think it'd be exciting. I wish we could go to one vote can change laws in the United States, and I don't mean one vote, 51 votes. One extra vote. You win by one, you got it. And I do believe in the vice president being able to come in and break ties and all of that stuff. But I think that all this talk about filibusters and all this, we need to stop. We need to let the party in power do what they need to do. And if the Democrats get back in power and in majorities, then they get to do what they need to do or what they feel the country needs. And based on the quick turnarounds and the quick changes and whatever Trump has done to fuel inject the way this country moves as opposed to what we have been used to seeing. I mean, in under a year, he's got everybody pissed off. He's got offices shut down. He's got all kind of things going on. And I think the Democrats are too embarrassed for more than 8 of them to come forward and open the government back up. Because they all should have came over and realized we're just helping this man cause more chaos. The least we can do is open the government back up and shut that part down. He's got us all over the place, but at least we could keep some stability and something consistent going by keeping the goddamn government open. I just wish we could get somebody in there in 2028 who's going to move the country forward. And I think the main way that's going to happen is education. As long as we continue to lie about our histories and our histories before the history in this country for some of us, everybody wasn't here. Everybody is not native to this land. But for those of us who are, we need to be told about it. We need to be talking about it. We need to figure out how come the ancestry DNA tests come back with no Native American blood in most black people. And that's because of what they're looking for, the markers that they're looking for. The markers that are in a lot of people's DNA, these are misclassified and misrecognized and intentionally mistaught. And that's unfortunate, but we have had a black president, so to speak. We have had a black vice president. When Biden took her and put her down on the border to Kamala Harris, which was the most embarrassing and biggest slap in the face that you could do, she is or was representing a black woman. And you take her and put her on a border that you just leave open for people to come in by the millions, that makes her look like she failed. It makes her look like she didn't know what she was doing. She was doing what you asked her to do. And Obama, no different. We got to get people who are going to get in positions of power and carve out a little niche for their folks and make sure their people are going to be taken care of. I've never heard a Hispanic leader or a white leader or even the black leaders get on the microphone and say anything in support of illegal immigrants and get shot down and say, hey, we can't do that for them exclusively. We have to do that for them. We never say that. But when we start talking about black people, that's the first thing that comes out of everybody's mouth, even our own. We can't do that because it wouldn't be fair because everyone else don't get it. But we in last place because everybody else already got it. Now they want to shut it down, and it can't. It can't. We have to carve a way for us to move forward and for us to be happy and have that same quality of life in this country that everyone else does. Hopefully Obama can run for a third term in Trump. I like big fights. I like big events. I like big political campaigns. And I think that would be something that this country needs to get us talking and get us out there thinking about it again. And if you're black, just think about whoever you vote for, whether it would be Trump or whether it would be Obama. None of that's really important. It's who is going to do something that's going to improve the quality of your life. They can promise you lower grocery prices. They can promise you a lot of stuff, but lower grocery prices or higher grocery prices doesn't change who you are in this country, what you have a right to, how you can grow, how you cannot grow, your success and your failure. That comes down to just equal treatment among everybody. We can all absorb high gas prices and high food prices together. As long as they're hitting everybody equally, I get it. It can happen. That can be bad governing too. But what we can't tolerate is any more of this racist behavior that's just woven so tightly into our government that we don't even see it. We accept it as okay. Well, I mean, it just absolutely has to stop, and the covers have to be pulled back. And I think we'll be all good. But just hypothetically, if Obama and Trump were to run and we all had to vote and not do the easy thing and stay home, and we did have to vote, if I had to vote on one of the two, I would probably vote on Obama, just based on his level-headedness. He's a more intelligent person, but I also believe that we would have to show our courage and confront him and put him on the spot and not allow him to do to us what he did last time. Like, comment, share. Please subscribe. We see you on the next Black Popcorn.